retaliation, then like, but you know, if you're Trump and you've got all this bravado and yes men around you, then all you guys got to do is, and the rest of us, is just sit back and hope for the best. Keep marching.
What I read in an article was that it wasn't even due to new intel that the decision was made when it was made, but simply that it, you know, this perspective of this article was that it served some sort of agenda by the executive, you know, thus here we are. I don't know about that. I mean, again, that's just, you know, it's like unverified by me information that which did, and I hope that's not confirmation bias.
Well, but Netanyahu's been yelling about Iran for 40 years. There's like every 3 or 4 years, he's like, right? Like, during a war, you're going to have a war. That's all there is to it. So, you know, not you guys' fault, but that's what he did.
Sorry, Netanyahu played Trump. That's what happened. That would be my guess.
Well, look, I'm going to say something that some people aren't going to like, but Netanyahu is not a friend to the Jewish people. Netanyahu is a friend to Netanyahu. The guy is a power-hungry warmonger, right? That's all he wants. He loves this shit, right? That's all he's ever wanted, was to bomb everyone. And he uses everyone's Jewish guilt to be able to get away with it. That's why people don't stand up to him, because if you stand up to a fucker like that, you're going to be called anti-Semitic when there's nothing about him, right, that anybody's even looking at that is Jewish. Yeah, I know he might be Jewish, but I'm just saying, like, they're saying you are a terrorist, and not just, I'm not talking about Israel and Palestine, I'm talking about like Iran and the rest of it. The guy loves this stuff, but you can't say it or you're going to be called something that everybody cringes about, right? Well, call me whatever you want. Netanyahu is a fucking terrorist, right? And I'm not, and again, not just about this. He's been doing this and wanting to create war for years, right? He fucking loves it. The guy's off his rocker, but you can't say anything, you can't do anything about it because, guilt, right? It's fucking weird how he's using all that.
I was at a gathering last night, and it was a lot of my friends from elementary school, high school, and then current friends. My elementary and high school friends are all Zionists. Born and raised on what we call the Borscht Belt here in LA. And they are second generation Holocaust survivors. The flip side of that was they brought their friends that are here from Iran. And I had a really interesting conversation with a friend of mine who is here on a work visa. He's gay. He's been here for 4 or 5 years and applied for a job with the county of LA before all of this started. He's been in the pipeline. He got an offer, and they have been delaying on giving him a position, even though they gave him 2 offers. And in asking him what they're doing, they're checking things that they've called people back in. They've tried to contact people in Iran, but they've contacted former employers in Europe. They have contacted places where he had rented an apartment when he first came here and contacted the owner. They're going to such great lengths to investigate this poor kid. And in the meantime, he is sitting here and telling me that his parents are too old to move out of Tehran. He hasn't spoken to them in a week. His brother is trying to leave. And I'm sitting in this house, and you could cut the air with a knife. It's so thick. And one person decided to bring up, so what do you guys think about Netanyahu bombing Iran? And let me tell you, World War III broke out in this house. And at that point, I said,
nice with y'all, keep asking y'all the
India's language.
Yeah, bro, they could have bombed and flattened hundreds of cities and countries, so they didn't do shit. They could have done worse. They didn't.
No one's pushing a button on a nuclear weapon because it will literally trigger a chain reaction around the world.
It's a show. I just want to stay in power there.
I'm exhausted. I'm watching a video on X of an American military woman who got into an Uber and is changing. They're saying it's one of the pilots from the B-2s into like an evening dress from her gear, and it's in like double time or triple time, and I'm just exhausted watching it because like it looks like a lot of effort. Now I'm done.
To get out of an aircraft military uniform and change into like a wedding a gown for your dance?
Well, not a gown, but like what do they call that? The $5 dress.
Oh, $5.
And yes, Leslie, I'll send you like.
Thanks.
$5 dress.
But it's exhausting to watch someone change that fast.
It's China. It's a proper China. $5 dresses.
It's Timu.
China. General Amir Avivi said Israel will make sure the war is short and decisive, even if they have to take out oil capacity, electricity, and water to make it short and decisive. Can you imagine controlling all of that airspace when you're the size of New Jersey? Oh, it must make you feel like the king of the world.
Yeah, if we really want to get into it, I mean, when we invaded Iraq in 2003, it only took us 24 hours to take out their complete infrastructure. Weren't they still firing? Wait, weren't they still firing SAM missiles after that 24 hours? No, I mean, you had the real rebel groups like the Jaish al-Mahdi or the Sons of Iraq. That they would have these like little rocket attacks that they would do, but they were all like really improvised rockets. They weren't really like high munitions kind of stuff. And yeah, we got people killed, but it was like mortars and small arms fire stuff. Very conventional.
I'm seeing some actually fairly reputable Twitter people reporting that people are actually in the streets and marching towards 7%. Now,
That's good.
Like, what kind of people?
Regular civilians.
Yeah, people
From Iran?
less than 6 foot
Yeah.
tall.
And Tehran was starting to look a little bit like Gaza today.
I don't think that's
not
more helpful.
Wait, what is that? What do you mean? It's like Gaza.
What does that mean?
Flat.
I mean,
Explosions all over the place. Hello.
well, I would say
That's not what
it may
Gaza's
sound like
known
Gaza. I mean, it's not a great choice of words. It actually contradicts the fact that Israel is in fact the most moral army on earth, and they have not been hitting civilian structures.
Well, they've been very moral in Gaza. I mean, come on. Every other place is more compared to
Gaza looks like a moon.
Not helpful, Pikachu. Not helpful.
They'd have been nicer than me, because if I'd have been the word,
Compare on so many perspectives, comparing Iran and Gaza is just not helpful. Whether it's because it, yeah, a little bit, only less black.
Yeah, are you now
wait,
waiting
but
for the moral
she's
police?
African, and Pikachu is African, so maybe there's a correlation there. Just having fun with you, Pikachu.
How African am I?
I like 96%. I don't know. Just
I don't know.
Walking around. Who knows? You tell
It
us.
should be Boolean. We're either African or we're not. But again, if you want to, compare Africanness, I'll say I'm more African than you.
Yeah, you keep on believing that, brother. You keep.
Yeah, I think both of his parents are African and only one.
I don't think he has anything to prove to you, bro.
I'll tell you why, Yaakov. It may only be through my mother, but on that side, I've got like I don't know, hundreds of great grandparents that were in Africa. And if you go back 3 generations, Pikachu, his great grandparents were in Europe. No, they're Latvian, like all of the.
What to do with an assegai and a spear if it hit you in the head, man? Fucking hell.
I don't think that's the criteria for Africanness. Hello, Lauren. Speaking of Africans.
And that's why I had to come in. Hi, Pikachu.
Yeah, Lauren.
I don't think we should be comparing our African credentials, but if you really want to, I'm sorry, I've got a far richer, longer claim to go from.
Yeah. You bring up.
And it's unfortunate because you make me sound like an anti-Semite saying you're not really African. Go back to Europe.
Yo, I didn't hear that.
I know, but I mean that's the awkward position he's putting me in, unfortunately.
Lauren, how are you?
My father's done.
And Lauren's like, "Oh fuck, I shouldn't come up here because he's going to say the same to me."
If I tell you my father's name is Ding Dong, what the fuck are you going to say then?
Yeah, your father's name is not Kunta Kinte. We know that.
No, I didn't say.
This is called Clubhouse. You have to download the app.
Kunta Kinte was Ibu, not South.
What are you correcting exactly?
Kunta Kinte was from Nigeria, I think.
Kalalamanzi. Hey,
No, okay, totally different region. My bad.
Yeah, exactly. I think like 2/3 of Americans descended labor from Nigeria and that surrounding area.
Oh, fully GG5 Oh, yeah.
Why does that sound like you're doing a haka?
Oh, don't you dare, Jeff.
Haka, it's not like
What are you, Fijian now?
Is that New
Don't do that.
right?
You crossed the line,
Don't
Jeff.
do that,
You fucking
Jeff.
crossed the line.
It's more Fijian than New Zealand.
Really? Oh,
Lauren, that's why I'm saying, why does it sound like that? Because it shouldn't.
Because if it's not good,
You and I are not disagreeing.
Jeff, you never speak about the land down under to South Africans.
Listen,
Or
man,
Africans.
yeah, you listen
I'm actually talking about the island of Fiji where the haka actually originated. I mean, you want to attribute it to white New Zealand, that's fine.
No,
you know.
I'm an expert. I
And
didn't realize.
Samoa,
Thought
let's
it
not
started
forget.
in New Zealand, it spread to Oceania.
Jeff,
Apparently
I'm
it
a true
was
African, trust me. Lauren became my fifth wife through Ebola. You got nothing of
Through
Ebola.
Ebola. Okay, fine.
Not
I am not African by experience, that's true, only by ancestry.
Definitely not Ebola, but yes, Pikachu has paid a lot of cows for me.
And I'm not talking about the disease Ebola. I'm talking about the payment. Hey,
It is.
I don't want to have Ebola.
No one wants that.
People be blaming E. coli for Ebola, but you can grow insulin with E. coli, and E. coli gets like a bad rap. I just don't think you guys should hate E. coli for Ebola, you know?
Who hates E. coli? We have it as a natural bacteria within our gut. It's part of the good bacteria that keeps bad bacteria from growing.
Okay, stop talking, General. It's your stage. What do you have to share with us, Aline?
Which channel is this?
I am Somalia. I am
Somali.
Oh, there's the anti-Semite with the name General. You don't sound like him.
No, this is a different anti-Semite.
Rita's in the audience. Rita, come on up.
Somalia. Son.
see what happens when you start talking about fucking Africa, Jeff? It Bring them all.
I mean, I'm an African. I can't stop talking about Africa. So as an African, I gotta wonder, General, why don't you sound more like me? I'm the only real African on the stage. Why don't you sound more like me? I didn't think you had a good answer for that, huh? Adams. What's happening?
Adams. Pikachu, wait, where did Pikachu go?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. My bad for closing that room. Jay said to close it, when I'm done. I fell asleep, so I woke up to some bald-headed, angry gorilla, screaming at people, and it felt like it was time to end the room. So,
Why, thank you. I came into a room that accepted me for who I am.
was it an LGBT room? You know somebody.
I'm an African, all the way through, 100%. They accept me as an African.
General, why should we care about Africa? You seem to want to talk about Africa.
All African.
So would you say Somalis are the most superior Africans over all the other Africans?
I mean, they definitely have superior foreheads.
Oh, we're into phrenology now?
Yes, we love phrenology.
I thought that was completely discredited.
I did not understand any of the words.
Speaking of dialect,
Dude, I'd like to do a phrenology on him. Like Jeremy said.
listen, that's a dialect that can only be spoken in Somalia, my friend.
So I fell asleep and woke back up, and Athena just came in here and asked me. And Athena just came in here and asked me what we were going to do today. So, oh, dude, shut up for a second. Jesus Christ.
We're going to go on a safari.
So my daughter just came in here and asked me what we were going to do. So, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares about Somalia, you dumbass. Nobody cares what you're saying, you fucking stupid ass. Shut the fuck up. I'm trying to say
Hold on, let me, Captain, give me 1 second. Hey, General, if you're the light of Africa, why is it that Egypt stole all your water? You're all starving.
Why would somebody do that?
He's still William Walter as well.
I dropped the mic on that one. He ran away.
So y'all's gonna love this. So Athena came in here and asked me what we were gonna do today, and I looked at her and said the same thing we do every day, Pinky. Try and take over the world.
Oh, that's adorable.
That's really sweet. It's a great example because
She just looked at me with utter confusion.
that's how we raise our
She didn't even get the reference?
No, she's not saying it.
There is no place.
That's dumb. Why'd you do that?
And there is no case.
Because I thought it was funny.
Prioritization of this administration.
And I figured y'all might think it's funny.
But you interrupted my Somalian lesson for that one. You will be.
Yeah, seriously, take it away. All right, let me go back and see. It looks like we have a bunch of big target list that's been coming through here. Let's see if there's anything more in it.
Sorry, I just woke up.
It's okay. We raise our little ones like little pirates. Also, it's like we're always on the verge of mutiny. It's.
No, but it does seem that Israel is continuing to target IRGC infrastructure, specifically security infrastructure, symbolic targets.
Can I get the
All the
headquarters?
ones today seems. Yeah. IRGC headquarters was hit this morning. A siege headquarters. I haven't read anything about morality police. They hit the gate of the prison. Although now I'm hearing rumors are going around that part of the prison was actually hit, but it's being reported to literally nowhere. So it seems unlikely. Also,
I've got a video of it. I got a video of it, John.
Right. Yeah. If part of the prison was actually hit, then you would have at least one prisoner likely escaped. It was hit, and I got out.
Yeah, the video doesn't seem realistic, in my opinion. Just saying.
Oh, is that mainly for political prisoners in there, or is that for like murderers?
Mostly political prisoners.
I got a question to ask about Rabbi Shmuley.
I met his daughter a couple of weeks ago.
I used to question Rabbi Shmuley. You know, he wasn't my cup of tea. But since the set of the Mossad, I've become his biggest fan. We need more Rabbi Shmuleys in this world.
No, I think it was I think he used a bad name. No in people's faces. Like, drop the rabbi. Just like,
He's not honest, and he's a race hater. We don't need more of those.
Yeah. He gives us a bad name in appearance.
Joe, in the link, if you look there, there's a video of the front gate. So
yeah, I've seen the front gate getting destroyed. It's everywhere.
Yeah, like somebody happened to have a camera trained on the prison when the bomb like hit the ground. Aren't they mainly bombing at night, like in general?
No, they're bombing during the day now too.
Wow, they have control. Oh, wow, that makes life a lot easier. Apparently, the United States gave them a list of specific SAM sites in the south. So they approached, apparently they flew east and then slightly south and then went north. They gave Israelis for 48 hours in advance specific targets to take out. So the bombers would have less threat. That was U.S. reporting. U.S. reporting from.
The U.S. knew their exactly what.
Yeah, exactly. So they said, take these out, and Israel was like, sure, you're gonna take care of our biggest threat. We'll help you out. But the trash talking, like. America is run by Israel, and some of these rooms are so overpowering. It's just like disgusting.
It's just retarded.
Yeah. I wish there was an option on Clubhouse for one whole room to join another whole room. All the people in this room could then like gang up on the stupid idiots in another whole room. Hi, John. How are you?
what do you think that they're going to do about the Straits of Hormuz there, Jeff?
I think they're going to part the waters.
Well, I mean,
apparently hackers have released video of torture being done in Evan prison.
My question was then asked of you, Jeff, so.
I didn't hear your question.
It was Doc.
Take a break, Jeff. Maybe don't see that. Right now.
I didn't actually watch it.
There's a doctor helicopter flying around. No, it's an airplane. There's a massive Israeli flag flying around Goldman Sachs in New York now with a sign saying, "Thank you, President Trump." Just over New York right now, outside Goldman Sachs.
There's two ways to look at the Straits of Hormuz. A, they could very easily do stuff. They've put mines in it in the past, and they've fired Silkworm missiles, which are anti-ship missiles from mainland. But their primary revenue stream, where they're getting cash, is selling oil to China. I guess like 90% of their output goes there. So they need that money. So I think that would devastate the only cash flow, or the primary cash flow, I should say, going to them. B, if they did fire one of those things, the Fifth Fleet would be all over their ass, like in a heartbeat. Like, A, I don't think they would do it, and B,
it would be suicide.
Yeah, B, we would just destroy the crap out of all the sites. I'm sure we have the intelligence to know where they are, or we can rapidly react.
It would be regime suicide.
How have oil futures acted? I didn't look since the
oil's not historically high.
No, but
yes, it's up. Yes, it's up 20% from a historical low of several weeks ago, but it's not historically high.
Oh yeah,
$77 a barrel.
Oh yeah. Historical high was like what, 120, 130 in nominal dollars.
Yeah, we're nowhere near that. We're nowhere near that, and the market actually appears pretty stable, considering. I think the math works this way. The market raises prices on oil when uncertainty is high. I don't think there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to what's going on in Iran. Well, I think the market is pricing in regime change. The market is pricing in a small disruption in oil supply. In fact, the market is also probably pricing in a large increase in oil supply because the Iranian oil has been off the market, right? They've got a private deal with China because they're the only ones allowed to are buying their oil.
Is
the
Israel about to take their oil?
What?
Is Israel about to take their oil?
No. If the regime changes, then the oil and potentially increase production because the sanctions will allow them to increase production, could be very beneficial for inflation because the price of oil will go down. And when the price of oil goes down, it filters through pretty much the entire economy of most countries. Plastic goes down, and, operating trucks goes down, and all the stuff that is baked into the cost of pretty much everything goes down. It's going to be hopefully wonderful long term.
Yeah. So, given the actual fact matter, it's not shocking that the oil market isn't going crazy because they're pricing in a short-term disruption and long-term increase in supply.
And that probably started last Thursday, whenever the war started.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank.
I think if you look at the actual, intraday over the last week or two, you'd probably notice some things that you can attribute to specific actions.
Doc, did that answer your Strait of Hormuz question?
Kind of maybe, but no. I mean, the Ayatollah dude is crazy as fuck. So, and it's down to his choice now that their parliament said that he has to go to make that choice. So, I
think that was a fake idea. I think that was another head fake. There's been lots of head fakes and psyops.
The parliament didn't meet yesterday.
No, it did. It did, and it said it. Let's pretend that it did. Are they actually going to do it is another thing. They're just, quote, signaling. Have they voted to fund, and outwardly announce we're going to fuck Israel by funding the Houthis and funding Hezbollah? No, it's all a head fake. Since when was the last time you read the parliament met and voted on something that could eventually affect the entire world? I just think it's the signaling. And who knows if it even met? Just according to state propaganda, it did.
Well, I asked ChatGPT and I said that there's the perfect storm going on right now. The conflict in the Middle East, tight supply and refinery containment, summer driving demand, and refiners exercising margin power. There's a couple, apparently there's a few different refineries that are down for maintenance right now too.
Well, yeah, the Israelis hit, I can't remember where they hit. They hit a storage tank or storage farm or a refinery. I can't remember, but they did that last week. Not sure why, to be honest.
Are you talking about the nuclear reactor big ball thing?
No. They went after some infrastructure oil infrastructure. He was either in Tehran, which made no sense, or near Bandar Abbas, which is their main oil exporting facility.
Oh, my boss just sent an email saying he's gonna start calling like us on Teams because he like really misses us. He's like, I'm so busy. Aww, he says, I feel like I'm losing touch with some of you, and I don't like it. This call will be very quick and informal. If you have an issue, we can talk about it. If you don't, well, tell a joke.
How is Teams compared to Zoom? Is it any good?
Sucks. Teams is terrible. Terrible. Crashes all the time. Can't hear each other. I mean, it's actually gotten better though in the past like 6 months, I should say. But every update brings. Zoom, you get a bunch of people crashing with pornography. So it's not very secure. It's not as secure as Teams.
Wait.
Anyone with the link to get into your call if your settings aren't set correctly, and many people don't know how to set their settings correctly. So anyone with the link can crash the call. So I've been on hundreds of Zoom calls since the pandemic, literally hundreds. And I would say there's a dozen times it's been crashed by some pervert jacking off on screen, and everyone's like, yeah.
Wait, that guy from the New Yorker who got fired is still masturbating on the screens? Jeffrey? What was his name? Jeffrey.
There's several dozen.
Jeffrey Tobin. Man, you can't live that up for the rest of your life.
At least he was honest about it. I'm talking about people who come in just for the effect.
That's just going to be on his obituary and potentially his tombstone. I jerked off on a Zoom call.
Yeah, the tombstone should say, I'm not even jerking off right now.
I can't jerk off right now. I want to.
Or it could say I'm incredibly stiff right now. I just want to know what kind of business Hilps works in that she gets people jacking off in a Zoom meeting.
Wait, what? Oh, yeah.
Well, it's not really for business.
Maybe her company makes like adult sex toys.
Well, these were actual like Zoom calls for people in groups during the pandemic that couldn't meet, like fellowship groups. You know what I mean? That couldn't meet in person anymore because they started arresting people for simply going to the fucking beach. Remember that? So, in order to keep touch with my people, we set up regular Zoom calls. But, like I said, those links can get hacked easily if the person who's setting up that call doesn't understand how to do it.
Or if that person is watching dodgy shit before they set up the Zoom, maybe why? Because I have never seen that. I would love someone to interrupt a Zoom meeting I have because they're all as boring as fuck. And I would love to see someone doing something funny.
Yeah. It's happened often. Sometimes you'll have people come in, like, threatening to shoot up everybody and showing guns and stuff. It's like, where are these people coming from? But if they have your phone number, if your app is on your phone, they can get in.
Will you invite me the next time you have an interesting call?
Yeah.
Well, now that the world's up and back up and Trump is now in precedent and people are getting arrested for going to the beach and we don't have to wear masks and all that, we're kind of meeting in real life. So unfortunately now it's just happening in real life. So we're back to the good old flasher.
Breaking news, China has publicly warned Iran that the Persian Gulf and nearby waters are vital trade corridors and they must be kept stable and free from disruption.
Yeah. Listen, Iran's on their own. I hope you guys understand that, right?
What's that?
The only person that'll probably team up with Iran at this point is Zelensky, that fucking douchebag from Ukraine. What's that little dude's name? The ballet dancer, cocaine dude?
No, it's only Russia and China.
No. Putin doesn't want nothing to do with it. It's Oklahoma.
America needs to close that strait, and China is warning Iran.
Did you guys listen to Putin last night? He spoke for like 45 minutes. Okay, but I was finishing my thought too first, and you jumped the fuck in.
That's true. That's true.
Gosh,
But no, Zelensky has nothing to do with Iran.
No, I'm just predicting because I heard Putin speak live for 45 minutes last night. Wants nothing to do with this Iran thing. Made it very clear
That also, but Zelensky also wants nothing to do with it.
Well, Zelensky that was looking for more money from America, though.
Zelensky is entirely aligned with the West, and Zelensky had a great relationship with Israel.
You were gonna help him. Yoko, get back up there. Put your hat on. His hat fell off, Jeff.
Someone was saying that there were Iranians. I mean, what do you call it? What's the country? Ukrainian spies in Iran.
Oh yeah.
They would stick out like a sore thumb.
Are you guys listening to that? Like seriously, like all this propaganda, it's the silliest shit. I'm like, are we watching a Disney cartoon? What is going on?
The only country that could potentially team up with Iran to fuck everything over is North Korea.
That is very true. Do you think that they will though? Because didn't Trump and that dude meet a few years back?
Yeah. That stupid foreign minister from Russia saying many or several or whatever word he used, more than one, countries are prepared to give a nuclear warhead, not just enriched uranium, but an entire warhead to Iran. Like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, don't do anything to Iran. It's complete bullshit. But the only country...
It's funny considering no countries are actually sending Iran even, bombs.
I don't even get that. They're not even sending internet. They're not even sending internet. They're not even sending internet. You know what I mean? Like, no. Sorry, guys. You're all
The hell's in a trolling book? The internet's there. The government just has to turn off.
She's a bitch.
I'm not used to Hills actively trolling.
Wait, Hills, how many cups of coffee have you had this morning?
Exactly 2. Thank you.
You're going like a mile a minute. You sound like me.
I know, because I want the misinformation out there quick.
You're doing a good job. Are you paid by the IRGC?
100%.
Speaking of paid by the IRGC, I know most of you know that dipshit Ben G. But I was in Ben G. It's the guy who doesn't believe in any kind of group affiliations, and listening to it makes you want to kill yourself. But he's in the Iranian room space saying, "Oh, the path forward's easy. You're just going to be occupied by the U.S. and it's going to be great." And I'm like, the more I listen, the more I think about what he's saying, I'm like, hey, this fucker's getting paid by the IRGC to scare Iranians.
Not the same Ben M.
No, Ben G. I think it's G. Not Ben Mendelsohn. This is another guy, an American guy. He's just exhausting to listen to. But I don't know in what universe anybody looks at this and thinks it's a good idea to either do or say, hey, hope no big deal. It's just going to be occupied by America, and going to be great. And America's going to take all your oil to pay America back for all it's invested in toppling the regime. It defies any sort of logical thing. But it would be great talking points for the IRGC to scare Iranians into, being suspicious of the West.
They'll pay 30 cents a barrel for their freedom. Oh no, we'll pay 30 cents a barrel for their freedom. 32.
Yeah. You care what a former national security advisor in the Clinton administration had to say, whether
it depends whether they agree with me.
Oh no, yeah, hold on. What VP Harris would have done if he was elected president in this same scenario?
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
She would have sent black and brown pilots to bomb the mountain.
Yeah. This is Jamie Metzl. He was the former National Security Council official in the Bill Clinton administration. I am not a blind tribalist and perfectly comfortable praising President Trump for bold and courageous actions in support of America's core national interest, as he took last night. Quote, continuing, although I believe electing Kamala Harris would have been better for our democracy and society, left wing. He went on, I also believe VP Harris would not have had the courage or someone put together this wonderful comparison reel, and I've actually seen both clips, but it goes great side by side. And an interviewer asked Eric, what would you do about Iran? And I think her answer was, don't. And he said, what? The word don't? Yeah. And she said, yeah, don't. Don't do anything. And then they split Trump in a crowd, and he goes, I would bomb the fuck out of them. And he goes on repeating the same line over and over again from a rally. He has this hysterical comparison.
Good morning.
Morning. Sabrina?
No, it's us.
Oh, sorry.
I haven't been here in a couple days, and I was actually excited because do you remember that whole conversation I had with you about the planes in the middle of the night? Those were the exact planes that were being started up in the middle of the night here in Colorado that was going, that ended up being part of the midnight operation, the exact ones that went over.
Well, the ones that bombed them were from Missouri.
We had them here first. We had 6 of them here for no reason.
Really?
Yep, that's why I posted that news article. And then they left here.
They weren't the tanker aircrafts? Maybe? Those things are pretty big.
No. I had pictures. Go through my profile if you can see the pictures.
Boulder maybe where they keep the bunker.
It might be somewhere out here. Yeah.
See, okay, so these are B-1Bs, which didn't participate at all in the operation, but they could have been just.
They may have been decoys too. They may have been decoys.
Yeah. Normally, in the past, they've used them for around the world sort of kind of missions like that.
It was just really strange.
Yeah, so supposedly
the B-1 can't handle the B-57.
Yeah, doesn't have enough capacity. The bomb bay isn't big enough.
Yeah, well, it's something I want to argue, but that's definitely not the B-2.
Yeah, there was B-1B.
Put a picture of the aircraft then, because we had B-2s here. I missed you.
Not sure, but okay.
There were 6 that were visible, and then there was other 6 that went under the radar. The 6 that were visible were to confuse everyone.
Wait, what do you mean visible?
That's what I heard. I don't know if
it's they appear like the size of a marble.
Right.
They appear like the size of a marble on radar, the radar cross section. The only time you can see or they're visible is daylight. You can actually physically see them, and this was a nighttime raid.
It was the middle of the night where we had them rumbling, and it sounds like sheet metal cracking.
Josh comment if you could see them as a decoy. I don't think there was some that could be seen, quote, in Iran versus some that couldn't.
It wasn't in Iran. It was somewhere else, and everyone was focused on that, while the actual bombers went on a different route.
Yeah, that was Guam. They sent some west from Whitman Air Force Base, and I think that was a big head fake, along with Trump's, I'll make a decision within the next 2 weeks or something like that. And then the actual strike group went east from Whitman Air Force Base.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff, there was a guy that crossed the southern border like a few months ago, and he lives Arabic, and he's like, you don't know who I am. You're stupid. You will find out who I am. You don't know who I am. I am here now. And they just figured out who he was.
You just sounded like a Native American trying to do an impression of a.
And Persians aren't Arabs, so where were you going with that?
It's fine.
I was just saying, I put a link in the chat showing who the guy is.
Oh, okay.
It's the Ayatollah. Oh, I accidentally hit it. So can you put it back in the chat again?
Hey, Hope, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All hope is lost.
There's 2 small clusters of where, quote, Arab Iranians are located. Do they speak Arabic, or they tend to they're descendants of Arabs and they just speak in Persian because they suppressed the teaching of other languages?
In Iran?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I don't
speak Arabic, but there are a lot of Arabic words in Persian.
Yeah, no, that I know, but if you look at an ethnic map of Iran, you'll see the southwest province. There's like a
Yaakov, they would also have Arabic